Welcome to the Ets Media Podcast, where the New York Mets and New York Jets are covered weekly every Wednesday, wherever you find your podcasts.
Hello, and welcome back to the 6th episode of the Ets Media Podcast, where I cover the Mets and Jets weekly every Wednesday. On today's 6th episode, I will cover a Jets season preview, Michael Carter's extension, and the Hasaan Reddick situation. And for the Mets, I'm going to be talking about them getting scorching hot and what's ahead for them. Getting things started with the New York Jets, Michael Carter got a contract extension. He signed a 3-year, $30 million deal with $19 million guaranteed on Tuesday. Carter was a 5th-round pick from Duke in 2021. He's been one of the league's best cornerbacks probably since the start of last year. And in 2023, he allowed 195 yards, 25 receptions, 0.5 yards per snap, 14.4 snaps per reception, 1 penalty, and PFF coverage grade of 83.3. And all of those stats are ranked first among slot quarterbacks. So the Jets just re-signed Michael Carter to the highest slot cornerback contract in NFL right now. And this is money well deserved for the young slot nickel quarterback that they have. He's playing alongside DJ Reed, whose contract is up after next year, and Sauce Gardner, who's coming up for a contract extension. But with Carter re-signing, it's looking like DJ Reed will most likely not be having a contract extension in 2025, because it really came down, was it going to be Carter or DJ Reed? My prediction probably was going to be Michael Carter, because he is younger by only 2 years. But again, this is a cornerback position. You don't really know when they're going to fall off, or it won't look like DJ Reed will fall off, but you never know, because when you re-sign him, he's probably going to be signed into his 30s, and his contract is going to be probably very big that the Jets won't be able to afford, because they still are going to have to re-sign Brees, Garrett Wilson, Sauce, and Jermaine Johnson. Looking at DJ Reed's contract, right now he's the 15th highest paid cornerback in the NFL with $11 million. When he gets re-signed, he's probably going to be looking for somewhere around the 15 to 16, 17 million dollar range, which right now would put him just below Jalen Ramsey at 8 and just above Carlton Davis at 9 with 14.5. So re-signing Michael Carter was probably the smarter decision based on age and financial reasons. So Carter will become a free agent in 2027. He was expected to be a free agent in 2025, but now it's 2027. But moving on from that quick little segment, we're going to be moving on to the Hasaan Reddick situation, and him still being, or not actually still, he is still holding out, but right now he's the only player to be still holding out in the entire NFL, with Trent Williams getting signed on Tuesday. The tackle for the 49ers got paid. He got $3 million for 82. So he got 3 years for $82 million to end his holdout. But now looking at Hasaan Reddick, he was out at a, I believe it was a fundraiser on Tuesday, and he was asked from the media there. He was basically asked, do you think you'll play this season with the Jets? And there was no comment there. But it's pretty interesting, because he was there taking pictures, signing Jets helmets, and he is still holding out. And it doesn't look like there is a light at all, unfortunately. Robert Saleh spoke to me, I think it was Tuesday or Monday. He was asked if he has spoken to Hasaan Reddick, and he said no, not before training camp started. So that was dating back to about mid-early July from the last time Robert Saleh talked to Hasaan Reddick. So definitely not good signs at all. And like I said before, it's looking like this holdout could last it is definitely lasting longer than expected, but now it's going even farther than expected, something completely out of the ballpark. And I also think the way that the Jets handled this situation was pretty bad on their parts. They decided when he was holding out, their whole approach to that would just be not talking with him until he came back and just waiting on him. But it's looking like that. It has been that was not the right approach, and I still think the Jets are going to keep going without talking to him and just having what they have for the season. But what the Jets have right now, it's not comfortable with Hasaan Reddick not there. They brought him in because they needed an edge presence when Bryce Huff left in free agency. And now the Jets are going to be stuck without a true edge presence on the opposite side of Jermaine Johnson. Now they're going to be stuck rotating between like Takk McKinley, Michael Clemens, Will McDonald, Braden McGregor. It's not going to look good at all. Yes, Will McDonald will probably have a spin move and get a quarterback hit, not even a sack. And Jets Twitter will absolutely erupt when in reality, he's going to be playing too many snaps and it's just not going to be good. They're not going to be getting after the quarterback as well as they would be with Hasaan Reddick. So no, the Jets are not completely fine with Hasaan Reddick not being there. Just going down of who we have, Will McDonald, he is not ready to even play 70%, 80% of snaps yet. He's still a 60, 50, 40% of snaps guy this season. Michael Clemens, we know what we have in him, and he is not a strong edge presence. Takk McKinley, other than the preseason, what has he done in the regular season? Braden McGregor, unproven, undrafted free agent rookie. And then Eric Watts, another unproven, undrafted free agent rookie. This is not a good situation at all from top to bottom on the opposite side of Jermaine Johnson. They need Hasaan Reddick back, and they need him on the field. Because right now, it's probably guaranteed he's not going to play week 1, even if he comes back on Thursday or Friday. There's a practice on Thursday, and even if he comes back, he's not going to play because the Jets still need to figure out with their trainers if he's ready and fit to play yet. So right now, it's basically confirmed he's out for week 1, and it's going to show against the 49ers what the Jets look like without a true edge presence on the opposite side of Jermaine Johnson. Because last year, Bryce Huff was the only 10-plus sack player for the Jets last season. And you're going to notice a big difference against the 49ers when there's not a true edge presence on the opposite side of Jermaine Johnson. But now staying on the 49ers, we're going to be doing a little preview about the game upcoming for the Jets. Honestly, to start off, I think they're going to lose. Do I hope they lose? Obviously not. But I think they will lose. I think the NFL kind of screwed them over going to the West Coast week 1 to play a top 3, top 5 defense in the NFL with Aaron Rodgers' first game back. But the whole goal, everyone's been saying it, just get Aaron Rodgers out of there healthy and safe and make sure he's all good and ready for the season. But just going for the game perspective, I think the Jets offense will start pretty slow. I think it's going to take some time for the Jets offense to ramp up in a couple of the early games this year. But this game especially, I think the Jets will take some time. I have them scoring 24 points and losing 30-24. But other than a slow start in that game, I do think the Jets offense will look pretty productive. I think Garrett Wilson will have a pretty decent game. I think Aaron Rodgers will probably throw around 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and maybe an interception, but he's not a huge interception. I think he'll throw a lot more incompletions than expected. But I think they'll be running the ball a ton this game, especially in this whole ramp-up period in the earlier start of the season. Because now we know Breece Hall is going to be 100% from week 1 and beyond, so they're going to be hitting the ground running with him. And for the Jets defense, probably just hold their own. Pretty tough, top 10 offense. Brock Purdy throwing the ball. Brandon Ayuk back, ending his holdout also. Trent Williams, the huge tackle, ending his holdout. Also, he's going to be back, one of the best, if not the best, tackle in football. Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey is expected to play. He came back to practice on Tuesday or Monday, I believe, but he's going to be ready. This is going to be a tough test for this Jets defense week 1, but I think they'll show flashes, but they won't be mid-season form yet, especially without Hasaan Reddick. But I'm done talking about him. So I think the Jets will lose this game. Pretty respectable loss. And I think we'll see, like I said, 2 touchdowns, 200 yards, and 1 interception from Rodgers. And I'm saying about an 80, 90, maybe even 100-yard rushing game for Breece Hall and a touchdown from him. And as the Jets offense starts to ramp up, don't be surprised if we see Braylon Allen get some pretty decent snaps, especially earlier on in the season. Even in this game, I think he'll get some pretty decent snaps in both the pass game and the rushing game. But I think they'll use him heavily in the passing game, especially at the start of the season and throughout the season. So that's kind of how I think week 1 will go for the Jets. But now we're done with the Jets. We head into the Mets now. They're starting to get hot. 6-game winning streak. 3 against the historically bad White Sox, handing them their 107th loss of the season, I believe. And now they're going for the sweep on Wednesday, the 4th. They'll be heading for the sweep after winning the first 2 games. Monday in the game against the Red Sox. Luis Severino had a great game on the mound. He pitched 7 innings, allowing 6 hits, 1 run, and striking out 5 batters. And the Mets on offense, they did quite well. Starling Marte ground into a double play for an RBI. Brandon Nimmo hit an RBI double. Luis Torrens hit an RBI double. And Francisco Lindor continued his MVP season with hitting a RBI single to bring home Luis Torrens. And Phil Maton got his first save for the Mets for the first time in his Mets uniform. And that game put the Mets 10 games over 500 for the first time since October of 2022. So great things going on for the Mets. And now heading into the Tuesday's game, that game was absolutely electric all around. David Peterson on his birthday, 29th birthday, I believe. Yeah, his 29th birthday. He pitched 6 innings, allowing 6 hits, 1 run, and 11 strikeouts. So an amazing game from David Peterson, the lefty, who has had such an underrated season, it's not even funny. This year, he has had a 9-1 record, 2.75 ERA, 98 innings pitched, and a 1.31 whip. This is by far, and it's not even close, the best season of his career. And he is rebounding from a 3-8 season, 5.03 ERA, and a 1.57 whip in 2023. And he's not the only pitcher that's pitching out of his mind. Sean Manaea is having one of the best stretches of his MLB career. Luis Severino is looking very hot as he has a below 3.5 ERA. So this is some pretty good stuff. And considering Kodai Senga and Christian Scott are not even in the rotation, the Mets rotation is starting to look absolutely spectacular. Something we probably did not expect in March or February. And they still have, like I said, Kodai Senga, I believe he hopes to come back about the last week of the season, but most likely not. But we have Christian Scott coming back. Paul Blackburn's going to be coming back. So this Mets rotation is nowhere near complete, and they are still looking absolutely spectacular. But continuing on the game versus the Red Sox, Francisco Lindor is looking like the NL MVP the past couple months, and today he really showed it. He went 2 for 3 with an RBI, double, and a 2-run home run. On top of that, I believe it was a hit by pitch or a walk, and he also had a stolen base. So he went 2 for 3, a home run, 3 RBIs, and a stolen base. So he is looking like the NL MVP and every single thing you wanted out of the contract he signed just a few years back. But now, as the Mets win that game, they are just 0.5 games back from the Braves in that last wild card spot. Now, the schedule up ahead for the Mets is pretty rough at some points, and the Braves do have an easier schedule, but just to break it down, the Mets have 1 more against the Red Sox, 3 against the Reds, 3 against the Blue Jays, 3 against the Phillies, 3 against the Nationals, 4 against the Phillies, and then they go to the Braves and they finish it out away in Milwaukee. Now for the Braves, on the other hand, they have two against the Rockies where they're coming off a win. I believe it was a 3-0 win. But they have 3 against the Blue Jays, 1 against the Reds, 2 against the Nationals, 4 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Marlins, 3 against the Reds, and 3 against the Mets. And then they head into their last game of the series against the Royals. So right now, it's shaping up that second to last series for both teams is going to be the season decider. And we've seen that before for the Mets, where they head to Atlanta in a big crucial series near the end of the season back in 2022 when they lost the division. But I have a feeling, knock on wood, that that series does not end up like the series that it did in 2022. I think if the Mets continue hot and the Braves start to slow down like they have, losing the series against the Phillies and hopefully coming up against maybe the Dodgers where they lose a series, but they have a pretty easy schedule. So you just hope they start to cool down and we continue our hot streak. But that game, those three games are going to be absolutely brutal for the Mets. They're going to be coming off a 4-game series against the Phillies at home. They'll have a day off, then they go and play the Braves. But I have a feeling that 4-game series against the Phillies is going to take a lot out of the Mets. And you just hope by that time, the pitching is just absolutely spectacular. Hopefully we get a nice Sean Manaea, Luis Severino, and maybe a David Peterson start right in there for those 3 games. But the Mets just have to hang in there, do their job, and win. I believe last week I said over the series against the White Sox, I think it was the last game against the Diamondbacks from last week's episode. They have 1 more game against the Diamondbacks, the 3 against the White Sox, the 3 against the Red Sox, against the Reds, and the Blue Jays. I said they needed to go 11-3. So I just checked it, trying to backtrack a little bit. I had them going 2 more against the Diamondbacks. Then it was 3 against the White Sox, 3 against the Red Sox, 3 against the Reds, and 3 against the Blue Jays. I said they had to go 11-3 to stay in contention. And right now they're 7-1 and in contention. And I'm still staying true by the idea that they have to go 7-3 in that stretch to stay in contention. And it's looking quite positive. If they get the sweep against the Red Sox, they're 8-1 that stretch. And if they win those 2 series against the Reds and the Blue Jays, they're 11-3. But now, my prediction now, I think they could go 12-2 down that stretch, which would be absolutely vital to their postseason hopes and dreams. And speaking about their postseason hopes and dreams, Fangraphs gives the Mets a 40% chance to make the playoffs, which I believe is a jump from 27% that was just a couple days ago. They give the Cubs, which are a team below us, I believe they're 3 games below us in the wild card standings, just a 1.9% chance, and they give the Braves a 76.1% chance. So there's still hope, and there's definitely hope over the last month of the season, and you just hope the Mets stay hot, and if they stay hot, they'll be in the postseason. So for me, that's going to do it for the 6th episode of the Ets Media podcast. And next week we'll be recapping the Jets' first game. So just stay ready for that. I'm ready. I can't wait for the Jets' first game. But from there, check out the website www.etsmedia.xyz. Follow the Instagram etsmedia0, follow the X etsmedia0, and follow the TikTok etsmedia0. But I will see you all next Wednesday. Go Mets and go Jets.